When people feel judged or at risk, parts of our brain literally shut down.
Welcome to the Business and Pleasure of Flowers. We're your hosts, Vonda
and Lori Wilson, and we believe that business and fun are a perfect combination. Kind of like us, Vonda. Good morning, Vonda.
Hey, Lori, how's it going?
It's going.
It's going.
Yes, we're just moving and grooving, getting down to the wire. I am working on my presentation.
It's a lecture. You're doing
a lecture. I hate the word lecture.
I know.
My session. I'm going to call it my session.
Okay, your session at AIFD. This is the one that I will have to say. I'm going to interject this because you've been asked to do this presentation at SIF many times after you did it at NextGen and then at several state conventions.
And my boss says no.
And I said, no, you are saving this, girl. You are saving this.
Yeah. And I'm nervous because I'm like, what if just Ellie and you show up?
Whoever shows up are the ones who are really going to need to hear what you're going to say. So I think that's all.
No, it's fine. And I did it at NextGen, and then that was 3 years ago. And I've grown, I've learned, I've changed, and things have changed. And so anyway, it's about empathy, but it's about empathy and leadership and communication and our industry and why it matters. And one of the things is one of the myths that we kind of talk about is the fact that a lot of people think you're either born with it or you're not, which is a misconception because I always thought that. I was clearly born with it. And I kind
with an abundance of it.
I was one of those people that was born with it. And I share a little bit of my story in my session of kind of a funny way of what I was known as a kid. But in doing more research, I came across a really interesting article last week. And it's a very intense, psychological based, a lot of medical terms in it. But I've been taking a lot of notes because the biggest part of it is, yes, we all can learn new things, but how? What changes our mindset? And you and I've talked about this so many times. Like, how do we change our mind? So we tend to think once you know better, do better, right? That's what our world says.
Doesn't happen though, does it, Lori?
It doesn't, because the examples they were talking about, smoking. Clearly, we all know smoking, not that you and I smoke, but people still smoke.
Right.
Exercise. We all know exercise is better for us. We all know that. It's science based. Like everyone knows exercise makes you live longer. We don't all do that. Healthy eating. Don't drink alcohol. Like all of the things.
Yep.
But we still don't do it.
We still do. Still eat our sweets.
So evidence tells us do this, yet we still don't. So what did the research tell us? It's the way our brain works. And so I'm going to start kind of weird.
Okay.
Sciencey, and then I'm going to move to the fun part.
Okay. So
here's what the research got right. And that change happens in stages in our brain. It starts with pre-contemplation. Okay. Mm-hmm. We are thinking, I don't have a problem. Let's just say drinking. Pretend I'm an alcoholic. You and I both know I'm not. I don't really like alcohol, but we're going to pretend that. I don't have a problem. To contemplation. Maybe I should do something about this. To preparation. Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever it is. Action. I'm actually going to an AA meeting.
Okay.
And then it goes into maintenance. I'm sustaining. I'm going to continue in a minute. So it goes into all of this. So action-oriented advice to someone, giving action-oriented advice to someone, like my husband telling me, let's say the gym, let's say exercise. Okay. When I'm in pre-contemplation, I don't want to go to the gym mode. I don't need to go to the gym. And every day he's, "Hey, I'm going to the gym. You wanna go?" That does nothing but piss me off.
Gotcha. I hear you.
Okay, so he doesn't know this. He doesn't know the science behind it, nor will he ever, because he's never not gonna care enough. If I was in contemplation mode, maybe I should start doing something about my health. And he said, "Hey, do you think, first of all, I love you so much. I want you to be with me forever. I would love so much if you would wanna go to the gym with me." Like, that
Yeah,
type
yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. But I'm in pre-contemplation mode. "So, you wanna go to the gym?" Not only no, but hell no.
Mhm.
Go away. I'm going to get super defensive, and I'm gonna rebel. My question became from this point, okay, then where do you start? What creates movement between these stages? Contemplation, blah, blah, blah. I'm glad you Lori,
What
I'm
is
glad
that,
you
Lori? What is
yeah,
that? What brings
you
me from one to the other?
and what is our role in this?
Yeah.
Okay, so now put your brain in the mind of a, I don't know, flower shop owner. There's a framework called Bridge, 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 like you
Mhm.
walk over a bridge, drive over a bridge. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
And that is how we communicate with our employees. Mostly is what I'm going to really focus on. I would say also your customers, but I'm really going to be talking about with your team
Okay.
because that's what I'm focusing on in my presentation. I'm not going in depth with this framework in my session at AIFD because I don't have enough time in the day
Sure.
to go, but I do think it's really important. So, this framework is all about how to communicate, to create movement within the way our brains work. If we want to create change within our team.
Okay. So this is a
Does that
suggested framework to get
Yes.
that stronger communication, and then I'm guessing part of that has to do with empathy.
Yes, because empathy, you can have it, but how do you get someone to have it? Because they're like, "No, I can't. I'm just not I wasn't born that way. I wasn't born that way." That's where this all came from.
Right.
You don't have to be born this way,
Well,
but you have to want to be empathetic. That's the thing.
and
You have to want
and we talked about this before with Dr. Nicole Price, right? Because
Mhm,
she is the one
mhm.
who was telling us, "No, you can learn empathy. You can."
Yeah, she did
Yeah.
because she wasn't born
Yeah.
with these natural tendencies. The biggest problem with that is, and that's with any kind of session like this, the people that truly need it are not the ones that are gonna show up.
100%, Lori. Because
The
they're
people
at this for what?
they're at the
Contem con
preconception.
Yeah,
I don't have a
I don't
problem.
have a problem.
The world just needs to get their pants on and get to work.
Mm.
They don't
Yep.
they don't care. So, anyway, so communication itself does not force change. That's number 1.
Okay.
It doesn't force it, but communication can help create the conditions where change is possible.
Okay.
Just by me communicating to you, "Hey, do this."
Yeah.
Again, "Hey, go to the gym." No, screw you.
Mm.
You go to the gym.
Mhm.
But depending on how I communicate. So here's the bridge. It is a model for how we travel. Number 1,
You love it.
B, build psychological safety. Psychological safety before everything starts here. It is the belief that you will be punished, shamed, humiliated, something if you speak up
Yeah.
in a meeting, in a group, for yourself. It is that fear that we can have if you say something in front of your boss, which I'm saying this because I don't have this, unfortunately. I probably need a little more of this. But,
Can I sideline this just a minute?
yeah,
Just in our meeting last night, at our shop talk for Flower Click, there was this example because someone had their main employees leave, and so this Susie said that she had these conversations with
100%.
employees that were part-time and not key employees, and they were sharing all of this. information that they would have
Yeah.
not done that
Yeah.
if somebody else was there because
Yeah.
they felt safe now.
And I think I've mentioned psychological
You
safety.
did, but that was a
Yeah.
perfect example.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
because
and did you see how eye-opening it was for her? And it was so nuanced. She wasn't cognitively thinking, "Oh, I'm creating psychological safety."
no, no.
She was talking about her 2 different teams,
Mhm.
I'm gonna call them, and they felt because there's some sort of intimidation going on,
Sure.
clearly, and that's just part of our world.
But as an employer,
It's
you don't
huge.
know that. Most of the time, you'd have no idea, and then when you have that light bulb go off and you're like, "Oh my
And
gosh."
she said she was able to build into them
Yes.
and hear some great ideas.
So here's your
And
build, your that she built that psychological
yes,
safety.
yeah, and it went on to say psychological safety is not just a, "Oh, it'd be nice to have this." It is a neurological precondition.
Mm,
We all have this
mm,
in our brain. Every single one of us, if you are human and you are breathing, there is a part of your brain that there is a situation you will have this, where you're like, "Oh." There's a time when people feel judged or at risk, parts of our brain literally shut down.
yeah.
And when I was reading about this, of course, I've read about it multiple times, but I'm thinking of scenarios where I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm visualizing times that I have
Yeah.
actually done
Mm,
this in my life, my long life, like
sure.
certain times. And the part that helps you reflect on I'm going back to the gym thing. Maybe I do need to go to the gym. Instead, what that part goes offline and what stays is I have to defend myself.
Yeah.
The screw you. I'm not doing that.
Right.
Go away.
Right.
Isn't that
Mhm.
crazy? So we just start performing and not engaging
Mhm.
with the
Yeah.
conversation. So if you were, because it's not a safe conversation and you're just like, I'm just going to just say what I have to get out of here. I think about teachers' meetings.
Oh,
And you'd have to go to and you're like, "Let's just do what we have to do to get
let's
out of
get out of
here.
here. Yeah.
Hour, I don't even care." Most of that's just 'cause I'm exhausted, though. So, here's an example. I was trying to type out that's why I was late to this. I was like, "I gotta try to do examples." So, imagine a designer uses, I don't know, the wrong ribbon or something for a big casket spray or a standing spray. Let's pretend it had a misspelling on the name or something like that for a funeral arrangement, but the mistake isn't caught until delivery. That's big. That would really suck. Instead of saying to them, like, you need to pay more attention. You have to be more attentive to this. You got to double check, like going in like that, saying, "Hey, we just got a call and there was a misspelling. I want to walk through the process with you and figure out where this mistake happened to see how we can figure out how this doesn't happen again. Let's go through this together. Can you walk me through the whole thing to figure out how we prevent it next time?" And you walk along with them together calmly and allow them to share their story. Of course, it is their responsibility, but going in straight for, you got to be more careful. I get, but you got to think big too. First of all, you need that designer
Mhm.
too. And if you keep doing those kind of things, reacting and creating that type of environment, again, if this is their 10th mistake, that's a
A whole different
completely,
situation. Yeah, for sure.
we're not talking about that. We're talking about a one mistake. It is your job. You're the manager or owner or whoever you are. It is your job to remain calm.
Oh,
Even
100%, 100%. I think in that
though you're like,
situation.
"Ugh, how did that happen?"
Yeah.
I get it. It sucks,
Yeah.
but you are the owner,
Mm.
and unfortunately, you gotta do both sides here.
Yeah, no, 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 maybe I'm wrong, but I think in that case, most shop owners would just obviously apologize. They would say, "We'll be over with a new ribbon. We'll come over with the correction." and then go to the designer and say, "Okay, let's pull that order and see what
Yes.
does it say on that order. Okay,
Yep.
let's look at that. Okay, let's create a new ribbon that we can take over to the funeral home now,
Yeah.
and then let's walk through."
Let's walk through it together.
Yeah,
See, was there a mistake on our end? And let them figure out. And mistakes happen, right? We all do them.
right. But you're not accusing them, which
No, it just
yeah,
was an unfortunate
yeah. It's like you
thing.
said, it depends on if it's the 1st or 2nd time or if it's the 10th time, then you got a
Yeah.
problem.
I think for me, whatever that conversation is, it has to be open dialogue, not just, "You need to be more
Yeah.
careful. You need to watch what you do," and walk away.
And I know you're going in deep on this, but Lori, I don't think that's a problem in most shops, unless you're a huge shop and you have a lot of this. I
Sure.
think that this is something that is a normal thing. If you're a small business owner, you know how to communicate those kind of things. And
Right.
you know you don't want to throw your designer under the bus. And you have
Right.
to have those communications, that clear, calm
Mhm.
communication. Otherwise, you're not going to have anybody working for you. Let's be
Right.
honest. You
A
know?
hun 100%, 100%. Okay, R, this big one. Recognize the cognitive load. I'm gonna say it again. Recognize the cognitive load.
Okay.
So working memory, our work memory, we each have a different level of how much information we can retain,
Mm-hmm.
right? When those limits are exceeded, our brain calories, right? They shut down.
Right.
I joke about that, but it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's thing. And it's not that the person isn't trying anymore. It's that their brain's like at full capacity
Sure.
and they can't do it anymore. So they cannot hold any more information. I wrote down a couple of things here. It's the signal that we might see as them resisting is often misconstrued as overwhelm. Like they're overwhelmed. And I think about my youngest adult child who has some learning problems, and we did not know they were learning problems, and I thought he was just being late. I'm like,
Sure.
he's resisting," and this was early on, like in grade school, and I would be helping him with his homework, and I'm like, "He does not learn the same way other kids are learning," and he would just but it was overwhelmed
Yeah.
because his brain wasn't working the same way,
Yeah.
learning the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
way other right? And so I also thought of sales prep school. Now hear me out for the example. When we created our 2.0,
Mm-hmm.
when we revamped it, one of the things that you and Ellie and I talked about, and I was like, we have to organize this
Yeah.
into days
Mhm.
because we talked about making it a quick boot camp or a do this and it is so important you don't do it all in one day.
Yeah.
And so when I have those conversations with people purchasing it, I'm like, "Listen, I can't tell you what to do,
Mhm.
but please don't do this in all one day because no one's gonna retain that amount of
Right.
information.
Right.
I created this and I can't even retain it all in one like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what it all says."
Yeah.
Like, you have to do a little and apply, do a little and apply. Unless you're Albert Einstein brain, it's not gonna happen.
Right. No, that's really good. Yep.
Oh, and the other little bullet point I put, trusting that the one clear thing is genuinely understood and does more than 10 accurate things on a list that you're hoping that they grasp one of them.
Mhm. Yep. Just the one.
Yeah,
Give me one thing that's the most important,
right.
right?
An example of that was like the week of Mother's Day, crazy time, busy time. Instead of saying something like, you're supposed to ask for this on the phone, maybe saying, "Listen, I know there's a lot coming at us right now. I've laminated this list. Here's what we're like
Mhm.
those kind of things,
Sure.
which again, we do. We
Set them up for
most
success, basic.
avoid information dumping.
Yeah.
I think about our photo shoots and how they just keep getting better, better, and better as far as the process
Mm.
instead of everything all at once when I first get there.
Yeah, we've had to do that for you, Lori, because it was
Well, right.
information overload
It's
and
information
overwhelm.
overload.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you guys have been working on you know a little bit of more because I'm not in on that, nor do I ever wanna be. So, when you get there and information overload, and my brain's gonna explode because I don't even know the starting point.
Right, right.
And so, instead of everything that has to be done today, big thing, it's, "Here's what we're gonna focus on today.
Mhm,
Let's just do this." So,
mhm.
anyway, I is invite collaboration. We talked about this. This was in the Next Gen Coffee Chat. We talked about this, which was so wonderful. When you arrive with a plan, fully formed and present, all you're asking for is compliance,
Yep,
right? Here's
right.
what we're going to do. Here's what I've decided. Here's how Mother's Day is going to go. Here's our specials. I just need everybody to say, yes, ma'am, and we move on.
Right.
That's
No,
collaboration, right?
no. And then you gotta get a buy-in.
So
Absolutely.
anyway, you understand what that is. The example, shop is struggling with order accuracy. Instead of announcing a new process, have a little team meeting. Saying, you know what? Here's the thing. There's been a couple of errors. No big deal, but I've just noticed that I would love everybody's input on a new process.
Yep.
Have parameters,
Mhm.
and then the new solution becomes everybody's solution, not just the manager. D is distinguish impact from intent.
Okay.
So we tend to judge ourselves by our own intentions, but we judge others by their behavior. So I read this for a while.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say that one's a tough one.
it is, but I get it. So I can say, oh, I didn't mean to do that. My intentions were right. But if somebody else does something very similar to maybe what I did, I was like, "Ugh, that was so mean." Because I don't know their intentions, but
Mhm,
I would judge them for what they did.
mhm.
But I know my intentions. It was human nature. It's
Sure,
who we
sure, that
are.
makes sense.
Judgy people.
Yeah.
It's just who we are.
And we're not
W
listening, we're not
We're not in their brain.
hearing what the intention
No.
was.
So when something goes wrong,
Mhm.
we know the complexity behind our choices, like why we did what we did.
Mhm.
And we also love to justify, "Well, I did this because you did, because whatever." We assume others acted for simpler, less generous reasons. It's how our brains work,
Mhm.
which is quite embarrassing, but we're all we all
I
do
think the
it.
older you get, the less you are like that because you know that's
I
not
agree.
yeah.
We're more self-aware.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
We're more self-aware. We know we do that.
When we
Instead
know others have so
Yeah.
much on their plate that you're just
Yes.
seeing what's going on, you're watching the actions as you
Yes.
mentioned, but
Yes.
you know that something's causing that because that person
Right.
doesn't usually act that way
Right.
or something's
Yes. What's
swinging
going
one way
on
or
there?
another. Yeah. As we age, we get that, but
Yes.
younger people know it's, "What are they
Mm-mm.
doing?"
Not me. Not me.
Not me, I don't do that. Yeah.
Learning to be able to separate what happened
Mhm.
from why it
Yep,
happened.
yep,
Because sometimes as a business owner, you're like, we just got to deal with the what and solve it.
right.
I don't really care about the why or who
Mhm,
did it. Yeah, this is priority.
mhm, right.
Just got to get it done. But it's hard to have those kind of conversations. It doesn't assign blame. I think that's something that the older we get to, and the more we know, the more we educate ourselves. You're like, assigning blame doesn't really help things in so many situations, yet a lot of people, that's like the first thing they have to go to, "Whose fault was that? Well, that wasn't my fault, wasn't my fault, wasn't my fault."
Yeah.
Okay, but the w was yet
Let's just
still
solve this. Just let's
just
just
solve it and move on.
right.
The example, I thought this was a good example because I actually had to have ChatGPT help me with this one because it helped me with an example. Said a designer is trying to be helpful and quickly rearranges another designer's work before delivery.
Mm,
Their intent, I was just trying to make it look better
mhm.
because I didn't like the way it was. The impact, how do you think that made the original designer feel?
R
Undermined, frustrated, less confident. So the manager might say, understand your intention was to help, and I can appreciate that. But at the same time, the impact that Sarah felt her work wasn't trusted. Let's talk about how we can offer feedback in a way that would have supported her, and she could have done the work. So communicating,
Mm.
I understand your intent because we have to take her words for what they are. We're not for her intent,
Right.
yet you can't do that. I don't know. How would you have?
I think the challenge with that one, that example, is that the designer who did the rearranging, who's probably the one who is in charge of quality control before it goes out the door. And there maybe was a time limit on that they had to get it done before it went out. It's, oh my God, we cannot have this go out to see to our customers. This is not the quality of our shop. So the designer rearranges it before it goes out the door. Now, Sarah sees that happening.
Yeah.
And is very hurt by that. And I understand that. But that's a really fine line, Lori, because now it's the reputation of my flower shop with this going out the door because that is not the quality that we can send out. And the person who's doing the rearranging or fixing it, that's her job to make sure quality control goes out. And so a lesson needs to be.
You're trying to build Sarah as a designer and teach her.
Right.
That's not a way to and
Totally.
you need to keep that design. You need both designers.
Totally.
That's a hard one.
That is a hard
right?
one because
That's why I was like, dang, Chat GPT, you
that
gave
is
me
a hard one because then I would go, okay, can I hold the delivery person? Do I have time? Or they have to be out within a few minutes?
So here would be my question. My question from the outside of this would be from a communication standpoint to make sure Sarah understands, hey, if that is a quality control designer, like,
Yeah.
this can happen.
Set her up knowing that
Set
that's
her
a
up.
possibility.
This might happen to some of them,
Mhm.
but if quality control Jane is doing this, I want Jane, if I'm the owner, I want her taking notes for later.
Absolutely. She needs to have that conversation now with Sarah
Right.
after that happens because
Right.
Sarah's seen this happen.
Yeah.
Now she needs to
Yeah.
go with Sarah and say, listen, what I had
This
to
is what I had to
do,
fix.
I had to do
Right.
this and this and this. And so let's look at your next
Right.
design and see if you're executing this in the same way or what can we do to make it better.
Yeah. Yes. So it's all about communication.
Yeah, 100%. Just like everything, Lori.
But it's the letting them know, listen, I don't want you to be offended,
Mhm.
or maybe even not, that is even could be defensive, but you figure out a nice language to say, this is her job.
Mhm.
It's very similar to in our graphic marketing world. Ellie has me create drafts all the time in Canva, and then she takes them and redoes them all the time. That's just part of the job.
Exactly. And you
You know,
realize that.
but if I didn't know that,
Yeah.
I'd be going, "Ugh, that was mean."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, but I know that's the process, right?" But anyway, all right, that is G, and then the last one is E, establish ongoing dialogue.
Mhm.
Simple, but going, keep it and back to what we were just saying, keep it going, not just a one-time, "Sarah, you did this wrong." It is we having a weekly meeting, weekly teachable moments.
And if the person who's quality control, going back to that same one, sees that consistently, then she knows either she has to continue to build into Sarah or she needs to obviously let the boss know and say, listen, we need a little bit more training here because she is a good designer. We need to get her from good to better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
And
agree. Ongoing.
said for the E, most people cycle through these stages multiple times before an actual change takes place.
Yeah. Wow.
That's like, ugh, we really don't like change.
And
We really don't like change.
takes so much to make a
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
No.
One last sentence I want to say, and then we'll be done. But this is just something I typed out. When you're working with somebody as a manager or communicator or trying to help somebody through change, and you do need to do the maintenance and the weekly check ins, there is a difference between accountability and surveillance. And I think when I talk so much about mindset, I think we need to think about that. Accountability is like, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing with your design skills? Or how are you doing? How are you feeling about that? And the surveillance is, I'm just waiting for you to mess up again. I'm just
I
waiting.
see.
Like, we talked about that. You did it again, or you forgot to
Mm.
upsell again. There's a big difference on how we approach the maintenance part.
Okay, that's
And
interesting because
that turns
I would have said surveillance is I'm just watching to see when I can come in and help you. But you're
well, it's
saying,
watching to see when I can come in until you're doing something wrong.
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And we know
So
there are some people who have coworkers who do just that.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. But there are also some managers that are, and they think they're helping. But what you're doing is you're going back to the first one and you're not creating psychological safety
Yeah.
because they know they're being watched.
Yeah.
Surveillance and accountability. Yes, hold them accountable with those meetings or those check-ins or whatever you want to call them, but don't just wait for them to mess up.
Right. Oof. Yeah,
So,
that's definitely not a psychological safe place.
no,
Ooh,
no, because then you're gonna lose your employees. So,
100%.
anyway,
Wow.
that's my TED Talk for the
That
day.
is a lot.
It is a lot.
That's a lot to take in. So go
Yes.
back to the gym situation. So how is Mark gonna get you to go to the gym? That
Not gonna get me to go. I will go when I wanna go.
I get you. I get you.
I will go when I wanna, and the more he asks me, I'm gonna send him this article. Maybe that'll help him.
You won't read it.
I'll read it.
All right. Till next week.
Till next week. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us because we enjoy spending time with you. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button or add the business and pleasure of flowers to your Google morning routine or your flash briefing on Alexa. We look forward to seeing you next week.
So please come back and join us and discover how a bit of knowledge and one small change in your mindset can take you to new levels in your life and business.